church cares, and so does the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. Hi, I'm Ann DeSantis, Executive Director. In 2015, the Mercedarian Friars came together because they wanted to start a foundation to help families in crisis. And that's exactly what we've been doing over these years. Whether it be something to do with divorce, separation, trauma, job loss, loss of a loved one, or other adversities, we've helped so many families get through those tough times through the spiritual works of mercy. We'd love to hear from you. Please do get in touch with us for our services. They are prayer, priestly consultation, podcasts and videos, and programs and events. We look forward to hearing from you. Just go to nonatus.org and get in touch with me. I look forward to hearing from you. God bless.
Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry present Journeys in Faith. Now, here's Ann DeSantis.
Good evening. Welcome to Journeys in Faith here on Fiat Ministry Network. This is Ann DeSantis, and here we are with the founder of Fiat Ministry Network on the show and the founder of Patchwork Heart Ministry, great friends of ours. Hello, Kent Kalhosky and Bill Snyder. Thanks for joining me on the show.
And always a pleasure to share the airwaves with you. It's great to be here.
Hi, Ann. How are you doing?
Hi, Kent. Yeah, and we haven't done anything like this in quite a while, so it's great to be back together again to catch up on some things, but mostly we want to talk about something that the two of you are collaborating together, not just with yourselves, but with some other people, on something called the Man of the Shroud exhibit. There's so much to unpack there. Why don't we just start with you, Bill? How did this come to be?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Kent and I spent a lot of time talking about different programming, what we can do really to elevate, both of these platforms, right? We're all so closely collaborating all the time. Patchwork Heart Ministry, Fiat Ministry Network, St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation. We just are all, I think, pretty comfortable collaborating with each other over the pandemic. And so Kent and I often have these little brainstorms, whether it's through Facebook Messenger or text message or whatever. And we say, hey, what could we do? And one of the things was, that Kent has some amazing friends, Brian Walsh being one of them, who's the head of the Shroud Center down in Richmond, Virginia, I believe. And so he was like, hey, I'm taping him and we're doing some things, and maybe we can brainstorm about doing some different programming with him and a documentary on the Shroud of Turin. And we, as normally I'm doing, going through some drive through somewhere, on the phone with them, we're chatting about all these ideas, and this one really started to take off, right? We began brainstorming this idea to do a documentary on the Shroud of Turin, and so it's actually come to be. We've done several shoots of this. We're looking forward to a July release. The title of the documentary is going to be called Who Do You Say I Am? But the Man of the Shroud exhibit that you referenced, Dan, is a large piece of this because it's a traveling exhibit that goes around the United States, and any parish can have it for free. They just have to go pick it up, of course. And when you bring it to your parish, you set up these 34 or 5 different panels that go up, and they explain the shroud, and then they have a full-length replica of the shroud and a life-size crucifix. Based with the wounds based on the shroud. So it's a very moving exhibit, and people who walk through it see an incredible, beautiful, faith-filled, moving experience. And we wanted to bring this out in the documentary, but also bring in expert testimony from some incredible people like Brian. We also have another wonderful person who is helping us with that. His name is Richard Bernatchez, and he's spent his entire life, many years, 20 years, 30 years, going through the Shroud. And both of them would tell you that they have dedicated their life to this because they truly believe that this is Jesus's burial cloth, and the implications for what that means for our faith are massive. So we really want to bring this to the screen, bring it to television, to movie theaters, so that people can encounter this and understand it from a faith-based perspective, not just purely scientifical. There's plenty of that evidence, but who do you say I am, right? So Kent, I don't know what I missed there, but I'm sure I missed several several things. So I'll let you jump in as well.
Yes, please do, Kent.
Yeah, no. I think one thing that I really enjoyed, doing it, having, Bill, of course, but some of the recordings. I mean, I brought my kids, and they're old enough to kind of get an idea of what's going on while we went through and checked out the exhibit. And I think one thing is there's a lot that when I was doing some of the recording, I actually went down to a parish about 2 hours away, and just a lot of people were very looking, really studying it. And one thing that you'll get hopefully into the documentary is all the insights. I mean, there are a lot of people that, I didn't even talk to, that I wish I had some film of them, but you have to ask them permission and all that. But how they studied the Shroud, I mean, really studied it. And so I think one thing is just understanding how important, understanding the Shroud and what it means to people. I mean, the encounter, encountering Christ. There's a lot of times tech was a retreat to encounter Christ. I mean, to really encounter Christ, to look at the Shroud is really encountering, and to have that personal testimony. I mean, that's kind of how, fiat came to, on my end, hearing testimony. I think testimony of anything will touch hearts, because one thing we were doing, and Bill was on the call talking to Brian, and just there was a couple encounters that he heard from people that were just like, wow. I mean, we wish we could have met them, because there was a lot of insight in that personal encounter of the Shroud. And that's, I think, the big part of the, what we're trying to display during the documentary.
It's an amazing, a truly amazing collaborative effort between the two of you and these other two gentlemen. And so I appreciate both of you sharing with that. Would you be able to explain a little more detail what your roles are with doing this? Because it's just an exciting thing. I can't wait for July. It's a beautiful trailer. I'm sure that we're going to show it sometime during this program. People can take a look. But tell us about what your roles are. Maybe we'll start with you, Bill.
Yeah, I think the Holy Spirit really just kind of defines the roles as we go along, to be quite honest. Because, Kent and I, again, work so closely. So it's just about, communicating with one another and saying, hey, what do you think about this idea? I think we're both producers. I think we're both directors. I think we're both, all of those things, as most small production companies like we are would be. But we just bounce ideas off each other. We obviously pray for one another quite a bit. But in developing this, I think both of our gifts and talents end up shining through. And we can't do it alone either. I mean, we have people who are supporting us and helping us put displays up and all of these different things too. So we are. I'm indebted to my pastor, Father Michael, at St. Francis of Assisi, for letting me set up the whole exhibit and film for a weekend, at his parish. So there's so many different people that go into this, but the roles certainly, I think any production company would tell you would be, producer, director, writer, and of course we got voiceover artists and all these people that are going to be helping us put it together. We're just super excited to do this, and number one, we hope this is the first of many things like this that we're able to do together, and we hope parishes get on board. We hope we have our website. I'll just quickly give it here: patchworkheart.org/shroud. If you go over to our website, you can actually find out how you can bring the whole experience of this film to your parish, and all of that stuff. But yeah, we're real excited about putting this together. So as far as roles go, I would just say, we're listening to the Holy Spirit and doing what needs to get done to make this happen and bring it to the screen.
That's really beautiful. And that's how God works, isn't it? I mean, the way that he works is just bringing people together. Kent, I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that.
Well, I think one thing, Bill was really touching on all the points, and I think one thing that, we're getting out and reaching out to hopefully parishes, and I think that's the best way. I mean, nowadays you're trying to figure out what ways to share, and I think with everything coming back, people are coming back to parishes, and trying to find things to get together and to have opportunities like this to share something that's very important about our faith, and to maybe help, support some kind of financial funding of the parish through a film like this. I think can help a lot of parishes, because that's kind of the way, you have to work together. I think that's one thing that hopefully we're working together right here in different ministries and different organizations. I mean, we need to do that in all parishes and not feel like we're divided into different, areas of the parish, to be together and to have something like this that everybody hopefully believes in. And that's the thing about a couple of years ago, 33% of Catholics believe in the presence, of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. I mean, something's wrong there. And I know there's a revival of the Eucharist coming up. This is another point where, do you think, who do you say I am in this? And so I think that's one thing that all parishes can, take out of this.
Amen. Who do you say to that I am? That's a perfect way to end before we go to our commercial break. So just give us a few minutes. We'll be right back here on Journeys in Faith.
The Shroud of Turin is one of the most researched and studied relics in church history, and profoundly impacts many who encounter its mystery.
As a person of faith, looking at it through the eyes of faith, I don't think it can help but touch your heart.
Something that we can look on, not only to bolster our faith in those moments of weakness, but also to deepen our faith and our appreciation, our intimacy with Christ.
Join Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry as they examine the science of the Shroud through the lens of faith.
Really interesting scientific information that we didn't know about, like the pollen from all the different regions of the world. As the Shroud traveled around, it picked that up. Some of the mites, things like that was really interesting to me. I mean, this made you really want to believe it a lot more.
It's impressive. Like, humanly, I don't think that is another level of love. It's not I'm gonna see people like, oh, I love you, I'll give you a chocolate. No. I'm giving you more than my life. I'm giving you my suffering.
Asking both experts and disciples, who do you say I am?
As far as who the man of the Shroud is, as a person of faith and kind of reviewing the evidence there, it seems that a convincing argument can be made that it's Jesus of Nazareth.
Visit patchworkheart.org/shroud to learn more and get exclusive behind-the-scenes updates for your support.
Welcome back to Journeys in Faith. Thank you for joining us. And during that break, you got to see the trailer for Who Do You Say That I Am, for this beautiful Men of the Shroud exhibit, and for the work that Bill Snyder and Kent Kolhosky and a couple other people, more than a couple other people, are doing to bring this to you in July. So maybe if the two of you, maybe we'll start with Bill again. Tell us, what can we expect over this next month and into July of what's going to happen and what we'll start to see as we watch and look out for this?
Yeah, so number one, if you do go over to patchworkheart.org/shroud, you will see all the information there to help support the film. One of the things that we do have is a Buy Me a Coffee site. And if you register at the Buy Me a Coffee site as we're editing this, and I think it's $10 a month to help us support the production of the film. As you can imagine, there are production costs to produce a film. So those people who are the insiders, right, that want to support us in that way, you're actually going to be getting some updates that the rest of the public wouldn't get. We're going to have some behind-the-scenes footage, some maybe a few outtakes here and there, but some exclusive trailers for you and those supporters. Again, it's very simple. You just get over to patchworkheart.org/shroud. You'll be able to get access to that Buy Me a Coffee website, or that platform where you can support us monthly for the production of the film. And then at the end of that, of course, we'll give you the option to be able to get that at a reduced, actual film at a reduced rate. But the other big thing, I think, and I want to encourage people to do, and especially people who are leading different ministries, or if you're a pastor, is to look at the website and register for the enterprise license. And as Kent was talking about just before the break, where we really want to focus about getting this out to as many people as possible, and also help parishes rebound from the pandemic. So what we can do for you is we can get over to that website. You're going to see a Google form there, and when you fill that Google form out, I think you see it on the screen right now. When you fill that out, what's going to happen is you can register for a date and time, and it's $750 to bring this to your parish. That means that you get licensing rights to show the film for 1 year to as many different people as you want. You can have showings at a movie theater. You can show it in your parish center. You can show it in small groups and have small group breakout discussions with it. You can do whatever you would like with this for a full year for $750. And what many parishes would do is show this at a movie theater or show it in their particular, big parish hall or whatever, and sell tickets, and they can raise money above and beyond that $750 fee. You can have 3 or 4 showings, and raise some money for your parish to rebound after the pandemic or whatever, while growing the faith, of your parishioners, right? And having these important discussions. So, of course, that hot button time of the Shroud is, of course, Lent, and we can prepare you well for that, several months in advance, and know that Kent or myself, we're willing to work with you. We're willing to speak to you virtually or in person. You want to have little small groups or know how stuff happened behind the scenes, we're happy to do that. So that's what you can kind of expect over the next several months. I'm sure we're going to have some more public trailers. We have a couple more filming dates and meetings with Brian as we wrap up the filming. So I'm sure we'll have a few more public trailers. For those who don't subscribe, stay tuned to our YouTube channels, because we definitely will be putting out more trailers and more information on how you can get it and bring it to not only your home, but also to your parishes. So super excited.
Yeah, well said. I'm personally really excited about it. And the more I watch the trailer, the more excited I get. So I just want to thank you both. Kent, did you have anything to add to what Bill just said about this whole idea with the licensing and how it can help parishes?
Well, I think, I mean, he covered, but I mean, really, I think with the price and all that, I think throughout the year, you can really have multiple times to take advantage of this other than Lent. I understand that's the, most important time, that, valuable time to use it, but you can use it throughout the year, because I think it's something that you can be touched by throughout the year. That's one thing that you kind of like, why is Christmas, all these different times, Easter, and why do we just focus on certain things at those moments? Why not take it throughout the year? So I think that's one thing that I would kind of, add to it, is to try to take it throughout the year, or section it off quarterly, or whatever you want to do, but make it a, kind of a way that, for even, young adults, even the youth groups, have different, ways to do it for different groups in your parish, not just, maybe make it kind of a small group, and then also build it for the, whole parish. But you can be creative in how you do it. But yeah, Bill explained it perfectly. And so I'm just saying, try to spread it out and make, it worth the time and the effort for you to take supporting us in this endeavor, but then supporting your parish, and the parishioners in the parish.
Yeah, it's, to me, what it sounds like is what I call win-win, meaning it's a win both ways. And so I also want to make a shout out to those watching. If you are, a priest or a religious, or someone who works in the church, or a diocese, archdiocese, or even those nonprofits, keep an eye. This is something that you might want to look into. Again, Bill, can you tell them that email address to get that information, or do they just simply go to the patchworkheart.org website?
We also do have an email. Yeah, it's very simple. It's shroudfilm at patchworkheart.org. So you can reach out to us there. But yeah, you go over to the website, patchworkheart.org/shroud. And, I think Kent put it up on the screen just a little bit ago, so you can see what that looks like. But yeah, head over there and just, register, your parish or your group. And, we'll get in touch with you right away. We'll get in touch with you right away, and, get your showings if you want to have, a public showing someplace. We'll help you, get the files and the promotional materials and everything that you need to make that happen. We'll do our best to support you, because we want this to be a success, and we want people to learn and grow about, in their faith with Jesus Christ. Again, this is a spiritual journey through the shroud. And that's the most important thing to keep laser focused on, is that, we're doing this because we love Jesus, and we want to spread the word about him and draw people closer to him. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. That's the reason why we have these brainstorming sessions. It's all the other things are secondary. It's really inspiring people and moving them closer to the heart of Jesus. And you can't help but do that when you encounter the shroud. And as Kent said earlier, the people that are walking away from exhibits, the people that are walking away, that have dedicated their lives to the study of this, every single one of them walks away going, oh wow, there's nothing else I can believe but this. Mm-hmm. And so I'm super blessed and excited to be able to be a part of this project with you, Kent, and I'm just honored and can't wait for it to come on out.
Yeah, it's just an exciting time, isn't it? I mean, I think it's just the perfect time. Also, like you mentioned, the pandemic, and And I think there were a lot of fruits during the pandemic, and maybe one of them were these collaborative efforts, even like this very show. This is episode 96, if you guys can believe it. We've been around for 2 years. I want to thank both of you. If it wasn't for Kent and Jennifer, Kent Kohaski and Jennifer Sinclair, for weekly producing Journeys in Faith on Fiat Ministry Network, just give you that thanks, not just for me, but my audience here, and also Bill Snyder for all he does and for the podcasting that we do with Sowing Hope on Patchwork Heart on YouTube and patchworkheartradio.org. So thank you both. Did you have any final words before we end the program on anything else? We'll start with Kent, maybe if there was anything you wanted to share.
Well, I think one thing, the final, the share about it is take advantage of what you can, learn from the Shroud and encounter. I think that's the whole thing of why we're trying to share that and kind of make it more personal. That's one thing, a lot of times you get the studies and you will get that. You'll get this science, all the scientific information and the history and everything also in here, but then you also get the personal encounters, and we have some great people just asked to share about what they thought about the Shroud, and they get their your personal kind of ideas and thoughts of the Shroud. I had a priest that really got shared. I know Bill had a couple people in with his group share, and that's really what I like, is that personal encounter on top of everything, the history, the scientific facts that are shared. It's the personal encounter. I think that's what it's all about. That's why I think Bill and I were talking about at the beginning. We want to make it a personal encounter, and so a personal encounter with the Shroud.
Yeah, bingo.
Beautiful.
I think you hit it right on the head. And just know that you will be challenged to answer the question, who do you say I am? This is a personal and direct challenge from Jesus himself. He says it in the Gospels. That's the line from the Gospels, right? The Synoptics. Jesus asks his apostles, who do you say I am? Well, the Shroud also asks us that question when we study it, when we encounter it. It asks us that question. And so you will be asked that question. Who do you say I am? As you watch and you encounter the Shroud from the angle of faith, not just purely science.
So well said. I like what both of you expressed there, Kent with the personal encounter, and Bill, you leaving it with that question at the end. I mean, it's so important for all of us to ask ourselves, who do we say that Jesus is? So I just want to encourage each and every one of you watching to keep your eyes open, support this effort, and please share this video. Share it with a friend. Let your friends know, let your archdiocese know, let your church know, your pastors. So I thank you both, Bill and Kent, so much for being a guest. We're going to have to do this more often, have this reunion of the three of us on this program, because I know we used to do it a little bit more often, but hope we can come back again to do a follow-up.
Absolutely.
Sounds
Thanks, Ed.
great.
Sure. We'll see all of you here next week on Journeys in Faith on Fiat Ministry Network. God bless.
Journeys of Faith is a production of Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry. For more information about Journeys of Faith, email info@fiatministrynetwork.tv. And be sure to friend, follow, and like us on social media. Just search Journeys in Faith with Ann DeSantis.